Between 1789 and 1871, the ideological force of nationalism systematically dismantled Europe's dynastic, multi-ethnic empires. By the end of the century, these massive territories were fractured and replaced by sovereign nation-states. This shift moved the source of political legitimacy from the crown to the nation itself, making the collective people the ultimate authority over the state. The origins of this shift trace back to the French Revolution of 1789. The revolutionaries declared that sovereignty resided exclusively with the people, stripping power from the monarchy and redefining inhabitants as equal citizens rather than subjects. This created an early model known as civic nationalism. Belonging to the nation was based on shared political principles, equal rights, and common laws, regardless of an individual's ancestry. When Napoleon's armies swept across the continent, they carried these civic ideals with them. French military conquests exported equality before the law and abolished entrenched feudal privileges across Italy, Germany, and the Low Countries. Napoleon's eventual defeat in 1815 did not erase the uniform legal codes and shared civic identity his administration established. The precedent of a people dictating their own laws remained a practical reality that future conservative regimes would struggle to suppress. Conservative leaders attempted a rapid backlash at the 1815 Congress of Vienna. Recognizing nationalism as a fatal threat to their multi-ethnic empires, they reimposed censorship and worked to restore absolute monarchies across the continent. In response to this suppression, the ideology evolved. Nationalism fused with the Romantic movement, shifting focus away from purely legal rights to emphasize shared language, regional folklore, and common ancestry. This Romantic nationalism sparked an escalating wave of popular revolts. By 1848, a period known as the Springtime of Nations, mass uprisings surged over urban barricades in major capitals from Paris to Vienna to Berlin. These revolts created a chain reaction, starting in Greece in 1821, moving through France and Belgium in 1830, and detonating across Central Europe in 1848. While conservative forces crushed most of these rebellions militarily, the sheer scale of participation set a lasting precedent. The era of idealistic grassroots revolution proved that nationalism could mobilize millions of ordinary citizens. Conservative empires were forced to realize the ideology could not simply be censored out of existence. Following the failed uprisings of 1848, a strategic shift occurred. Pragmatic, conservative elites sidelined the idealistic revolutionaries and began co-opting nationalist fervor to expand their own state power. They employed realpolitik, the ruthless pursuit of political goals through calculated diplomacy, warfare, and raw power, stripping away ideological purity or ethical concerns. Two major unifications illustrate this shift. In Italy, the process began with grassroots momentum led by radical generals like Giuseppe Garibaldi, but was ultimately consolidated in 1861 through the pragmatic diplomacy of the Piedmont monarchy. Germany's unification in 1871 took a starkly different path. Driven by Prussian statesman Otto von Bismarck, it was an authoritarian, elite-orchestrated process achieved through deliberate, successive wars against Denmark, Austria, and France. Pragmatic statecraft and military force finalized the modern European map, as elites successfully harnessed national fervor to achieve their own territorial and political goals. A critical ideological split remained. Western Europe leaned toward civic nationalism based on universal citizenship, while Central and Eastern Europe embraced ethnic nationalism. Inside the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires, this identity became a destructive wedge as diverse populations demanded self-determination. Nationalism succeeded in building unified, sovereign states across the continent, but by prioritizing ethnic loyalty and stoking intense rivalries over imperial stability, it ultimately primed Europe for the devastating outbreak of World War I.